First of all, many thanks to everybody for making the time today to come and share with us this Elevate Your Board Reports with Power BI. The main agenda of today is to talk about the key challenges that we have seen in, when our clients have tried to do board reporting, and then talk about how Power BI and versions of, in fact, Power BI can help you solve that problem and make your board reporting basically a complete dream come true, as one of my clients had mentioned to us. So we'll try and do that. And then I will be talking about actually four different tool sets on four different ways of how basically Power BI can be used directly and indirectly to do some level of reporting and board pack creation, which means it's a lot less manual. So without further ado, let's start and kick this one off. This is me. For everybody who doesn't know, my name is Tejas Parekh. I am the owner, founder of Akshar Business Consulting. I have an MBA. I'm a CIMA qualified chartered. I've been in the industry for almost 15 to 20 years now. Apart being a chartered and being in FP&A for almost 20 years, basically, I also am a professional consultant, Anaplan modeler and a Power BI certified, Microsoft certified Power BI basically expert on the subject. Plus, obviously, we've had a lot of clients that we have worked with. So, where do I come from? I've spent years at Nielsen, GE Healthcare, Vodafone, Excel Wireless, and such like. In 2018 is when we established Akshar Business Consulting. Since then, we have served all these different clients. So Excel Wireless, Premier in, Whitbread is the owners, Unilever, Carphone, Cinemedia. We've done Anaplan implementation, Power BI implementation, Vena implementation, and things like that. So we've been helping with, again, board decks, with forecasting cycles, reporting cycles, uh, you know, even investment appraisal models and Excel modeling and things like that quite early on when we started the business, essentially. So we've pretty much done it all, is what I'd like to say. Uh, and again, hopefully this list keeps growing as we go along. Who is this webinar for? This webinar is mainly for people who are in the finance function, looking at leveraging tech, leveraging basically process improvement and stuff like that for making sure that your board reporting, your management packs. So when I say board reporting, I'm not strictly restricting ourselves to board reports, but even management packs which go to, I don't know, a sales director or a CMO or or basically a revenue a CRO or things like that. All of that those are management packs. We are covering board packs as well as management packs in this conversation. What is the agenda? We'll talk about the key challenges that we have seen with our clients of creating a board pack. What is the one key takeaway we would like for you to think about when you finish this presentation? We talk about revolutionizing reporting in terms of what should the data architecture be for you to be able to consistently be able to do this. We'll talk about actually 3, 4 tools which will help you get there. Apart from Power BI itself, 3, 4 other tools which help you get there faster and make it more automated. Because again, the key assumption in this entire webinar or workshop is that you are here because you don't want to do things more stuff manually, but you're looking to do things in a more automated, more smart manner so that you have more time to write insightful commentary, provide insightful, discussions to your board, to your directors, to your C-suite, and people like that. So obviously that's the underlying assumption to the entire presentation that we are working with. Uh, does that kind of make sense? You can give me a thumbs up. I like thumbs up as well in this chat. I don't like to talk by myself. It's very lonely if I'm the only one talking. Does this kind of resonate with people? Okay, it looks like it does. Key challenges. So the key challenges we see with board reporting with our clients, and I am going to go through this in a little bit more detail, is the fact that first and foremost is data accuracy. So I did a poll recently as well on LinkedIn, and it came up with data is the biggest problem because people have data in multiple ERPs to always start with. So their business may have more than one ERP. Then they are trying to combine that ERP data with headcount data, for example, or with CRM data to talk about what is the pipeline of revenue and things like that, which all becomes very, very challenging because, for example, customer names are different, right? Customer name in your ERP is different to your CRM. Okay. People name are different from your what is in your payroll file to what is in your HR system and things like that. So you then land up with multiple VLOOKUP tables and stuff. Plus, the other thing which we always see very common in terms of data accuracy is how the GL accounts are, or cost centers for that matter, are summarized upwards. Okay, each business unit tends to do that by itself and how they feel like it, what works for them, so to speak, right? And for the board, you tend to do it completely differently, which genuinely creates a complete nightmare for people, is what we have found. And then they are doing reconciliation after reconciliation, and they don't know how to basically stop that. Okay. The other element is basically board reports for board members. Everybody is looking for a different angle to it. So each board member has their own priorities. So that becomes challenging because you are trying to cater to a very different audience every time. Okay. Third is actionable insights. So again, this is a big one in my world. This is where most of the board reports, when we start with the client, we'll end up seeing it's much more of a financial report rather than a board report because it's giving me a P&L, giving me a cash flow, giving me the revenue by customer, things like that. But it's all very, 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 very finance driven. Okay. It is not telling me decision making. What should I do with this information? What is going wrong? What is going right? Where can the board members help you? Things like that. It's not telling me anything. It's just giving me a whole lot of information. And so what? So your board report or your management pack is different to a data dump or a data warehouse. So, that's where we need to make sure that your board reports are smarter and more intelligent from that perspective. Translating again, most CFOs or finance directors, it takes a lot of convincing to move them away from a tabular format of a P&L and say, okay, I only want a table with a P&L, for example, right? A P&L can be told a story using a water flow, for example, right? Of a waterfall, where you start with revenue, you finish at EBITDA and what is going up, what's going down, blah, 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 blah. You could see it in so many different formats, but make that data basically more engaging is what the challenge lies in a board report. And then when you try to do all of this, it takes time. Okay. On an average, the clients that we have worked with, when they start with us, it takes them anywhere between 8 working days to 12 working days to produce a board pack. Okay. I know businesses where they have not produced a board pack in a month because they just haven't had the time. And I'm like, how can you do that? How can you not update your board in that month? I don't get. But apparently it flies, right? So such a manual task is very, very painful in my world. And that I think is a big challenge, which I am guessing most of you are here for. Okay. And the other one which we tend to push for with our clients is basically aligning to organization structure in terms of your management packs should complement your board pack. And I will explain myself what I mean. I mean, the board pack is always at a strategic level. It shouldn't be more than 12 or maximum 15 pages. I would say 10 or 12, but 15 on the highest side. It's a strategic one. It gives you a high level review, shows you the key problem areas, see key action points for the future, things like that, even highlighting where your risk and opportunities are and stuff like that. It is supposed to be small, slick, and strategic. But then to be able to provide real insightful commentary and actionable action points in that one, your management packs need to complement, meaning have the same KPI definitions, KPIs at a lower level. So not only strategic KPIs, but tactical and operational KPIs, for example, things like that. And has to be joined up, because if each management team is producing their own reports, then that means you can't use that information to complement your board pack. Okay. And that's where then again, I've seen within businesses where definitions are different between management groups, even between countries, of what you call a churn or churn versus not a churn. What do you call transaction per customer versus revenue per customer? Things like that. All those kind of conversations is very difficult because customers tend to, because of inconsistent data and inconsistent basically definitions across the business. With a show of hands or by comments or something, is there something you guys can relate to? Does this make sense? Are these challenges you see in your organization? Anybody wants to take themselves on mute and voice themselves? Okay, Katie agrees with me. Anybody else? Because this is the assumption on which I'm going to go ahead and talk about the whole presentation. So I really hope we are all aligned, man. Otherwise, it's going to be a boring session for you guys. Are these the kind of challenges you guys have? Yes, Gary?
Partly, yeah. I mean, in terms of like time consuming is the key one for us. Yeah.
Anything that you would like to add to this list, for example?
No, I don't think there is, to be fair.
Okay, so do you think it covers almost all the challenges you have?
Yeah.
Cool. There we go. So, okay, so Katie agrees, Bhavin agrees, Gary agrees. I'm assuming the rest of you are just shy, but you kind of get that you agree with what I've been shown so far. Fair enough. So this is the key takeaway. Power BI enables finance leaders to convert raw data, raw financial data into consistent, reliable, compelling reports, which you can customize by board member, to drive strategic decision making. And that is the key. You can drive strategic decision making around this. Okay. How do you get there? You get there basically ensure data accuracy. So this is one thing, right? Which if you are making adjustments in your Excel book to make sure your board report shows you stuff that you want to show the board, that to us is a big red flag from a consulting business perspective, because only you know in that Excel book what you have done. And that is absolute opposite of best practice. Okay. If a journal needs to be reclassified, if a cost needs to be reclassified, the best organizations will go back to the source system, whether it is your CRM or your ERP or whatever it is, or other financial systems, like your payroll or whatever, and fix it at source. And the reason why is because when you leave or when somebody leaves, you are lost. Nobody knows what the hell you've done. I've had a client where two people managing the billing for the entire 100 million business left, and nobody knows how they were running the show. Nobody knew. They open the Excel books and they're like, oh my God, there is so much of paste value. There is so much of, whatever. They're like, and then formulas, there is like numbers are added up in the cell. Now, you cannot physically look at like 5 Excel books, like 10 tabs each, and figure out exactly what is going on. That's just complete bad practice and high risk. Absolutely. So maintaining data accuracy in your source system, I think, is critical. Then the second point is to understand and identify roles and what is the interest for each board member. What are they really looking for? What would their key takeaway be when they open their board report? What would they like to see when they see it? Right? That would be basically ideal. This is a step which I think a lot of businesses miss, because they don't have a formal process of identifying requirements of each board member or each report reader. But think of it this way: without this step, it's like, I don't know where I'm going, but I will take my car out and I start driving. Okay. I ain't going to get anywhere. I am going to be lost because I don't know where I'm driving. This is telling me I want to go from London, I want to go to Glasgow. Then I know what roads to pick and what to do. Otherwise, I'm just taking the car out of London and going where? I'm not going anywhere. So this is a critical step which we tend to spend a lot of time in with the organizations that we work with, our clients, when we start with them, of what are you really trying to achieve out of it. And then it's about using the right visual to communicate the right KPI or the right message which the client is looking for. So then we help the client, we propose, okay, these are the KPIs you have agreed, this is what you're looking for, this is the messaging you're looking for. Fair enough. Okay, for this one, it's best to do a waterfall. For this one is a tabular chart of what all those kind of suite of visuals that you have within Power BI and in the Power BI market for that matter. Understanding that what fits well, and then again, you can swap and change as you go along as well in the implementation as you go through that. Once that stabilizes, then it's about efficiency in terms of reducing the manual input as much as possible. Try and get as much data from your source systems as possible. Okay, and therefore you can put an auto refresh. Even recently, for one of the clients, they were doing the whole financial dashboards manually. We took over the dashboards, we fixed it up, and then we basically put the Power BI on an auto refresh. Means every day at 11 o'clock, they get a Power BI report. It has got everything in it what they need. That is basically then possible because you know where you have tidied up your house, you know where you are going, you know how you want to tell the story. Then it's about getting there faster. Okay, and then it's about using tools like AI. There is AI even with AI and strategic analysis within Power BI, where basically you can use it to look at forward-looking, outlook, or you can look at trend analysis, or you can look at even, correlation coefficient and stuff like that to see, okay, revenue, how much is revenue dependent on how many calls the call center is making, for example, right? Or what is the revenue 3 months down the line is dependent on what is in the CRM 3 months previous, things like that. So it starts giving you insights, it starts showing you patterns which you may not notice otherwise. So there is AI options within Power BI for you to go forward. Does this kind of make sense? Does this steps kind of make sense so far? Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Again, the structure that the architecture, anybody who's attended my previous webinars, I'm sure they have seen this, me do this live. The architecture which we always recommend all our clients, though to varying degrees, is you've got all these different source systems which are more, this is for your sales and marketing department, this is more your finance department, more your HR department. So that is where the disconnect lies. The way to get over that is we ideally recommend use a data lake so that this is where you can then standardize and use and store your historical data as well. Because again, we've had at least 3 clients where they have changed ERPs and therefore they have lost their historical data because the access to the historical data was lost. And then the old vendor is the vendors there that go off is not very happy to share the data and things like that. Whereas if you have taken your data into your own data lake, then you are just secure from that perspective. So data loss is avoided, and basically, obviously, it's more elegant to do data analytics on. But people who feel that businesses are not big enough to warrant a data lake, there is Fabric, there is other solutions out there as well, which are now a lot more cost effective. So there is always an answer in this midsection somewhere where you can take your data and store it and standardize it, is what I would say. And then take it into your BI, Power BI kind of a tool, ideally into a CPM tool as well, because budgeting in Excel is not the ideal way forward, which then helps you with the efficient month-end reporting, analytics, performance management, do driver-based budgeting, because you understand actually the drivers behind your basically forecast and your financial numbers and things like that. So that is our basically recommended data architecture. Again, if anybody wants to listen in a lot more detail, please reach out. I'm very, very happy to talk about this all day because we've seen a lot of success with our clients when they have gone down this path. Does it make sense? Anybody has got any questions? Wow, very quiet group. Huh? Normally we get a lot of questions. People try to make it difficult for me. This seems to be easy. Okay. So I started with, I'll show you a few demos in terms of few tools, how this can work. So I'm going to first start with this one, right? So you can build a Power BI dashboard, not very complicated. You can build a Power BI dashboard where you can have your P&L, you can have a waterfall. This at the minute is a revenue waterfall. It can be a gross margin waterfall. It can be a net income waterfall. Whatever you can do that. At the minute we have split it by basically I think division. You can split it by product. You can split it by customer. Whatever else, right? Uh, so you can build up a Power BI dashboard which can be used by you as a board for a board as well. We've had customers where we've done that for them as well, where they have directly gone into the Power BI dashboard and at least used it as a management pack rather than a board dashboard. Okay, so that is definitely possible. So first tool to think about is look at your board pack, see, can I completely digitalize this whole thing? Okay, so that nobody ever has to produce that graph. Nobody has to ever. So again, this is dummy data. You've got operating cost. You could have margin analysis, revenue analysis pages, whatever you wanted. Obviously, the obvious advantage with these things are like MTD, YTD is all there. It takes a second to move numbers from MTD to YTD. You can look at prior year. You can look at current year. You can move between months. Another thing, one thing which I don't like with the PowerPoint or Excel board packs is the fact that I'm stuck. I got a point in time data set. Then when I'm looking at, if I want to look at a prior month or prior year, I have to go and find my printout somewhere or to find the email somewhere. Whereas this gives me the opportunity to do everything online, which is again, I think the right way to do this. So first way to do to basically digitalize your your full board dashboard is break it down and see whether you want to do the whole thing in Power BI. Okay, that's one way to go if that is possible. The key limitation we find with this one is the fact that I can't write commentary in Power BI, at least not in the native format. Okay, so this is one big limitation which we get from our clients that this is what I can't write commentary in this. Yep, I agree. You can't, but you get all your information in there. So you have to look at your pros and cons. I'm going to give you options to that though. Obviously, you didn't join a webinar for me to show you a Power BI dashboard. Most of you would probably know what a Power BI dashboard would look like. So I'll show you options. Option one is Power BI dashboard. Option two. Okay, this is something which we've done for quite a few of our clients. So this is a finance deck. It is connected live to the Power BI, which I just showed you. Okay. And like any smart finance person, we have had a drop down in the front. We are saying, okay, instead of November data, I want October data. Okay, when I say October year, the fun part is this looks like a PNL, and you're like, okay, Tejas, I already have this PNL. How does it matter? You see these formulas? These formulas are not your standard formulas. They are all cube formulae going into Power BI. Okay, there is no data tab in this one. So when I go back here and I change it to November, for example, blah, 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 November, right? The number is now changed to 5 million. Okay, I could have YTD columns. This is just a very, very simple one. This is just to prove something. It takes a matter of seconds. It goes to online portal and brings it down. Tejas, if I have it in Power BI, why would I do this? Yes, you do this because then you can add a couple of columns, right? Put a comments box there. Because remember, I said in Power BI, the biggest challenge we find with the customers is the fact that they are like, I can't put commentary in there. Yep, you can't put commentary in there. So what do? You write commentary over here. And then you can literally save as PDF. How does this also help? This also helps because you can have your predetermined structure at the bottom. So all your graphs come out in a matter of seconds as well when you change the months and things like that. At the same time, now I wanted to show you this one. This one I played with this morning. So I've got all these operating expenses. Okay, this is the Southeast division view. Okay, I can have France view. It is getting data. It's got the data. Okay, copy paste it down. Blah. This is now all my operating costs for France. So even if I want to do different packs for different regions, all I need to do is I would make that drop down on my input tab in the front. I change the drop down for the management pack. All my numbers are updated. Everybody gets the same pack in a matter of seconds. Just save as PDF, send it out, you're done. Okay. So yes, this setup takes time because we set up stuff like this. We set up distinct list and things like that. So you have, if you realize I picked France and I had Southeast division and things like that. So I can have all these dimensions and I can have even more. I think one of our clients had like 51 different dimensions he was looking at, right? So even the account hierarchy was a GL account. Summarize. The GL account had like 6 or 7 levels between them. All of that can be listed out over here, and then therefore you could build your outlook, your reporting view based on what you want to look at. Does that kind of make sense? Right? So am I making sense to people? So this can be set up for a business to make a 20-page or a 15-page board pack or a management pack end to end. And we've delivered this for at least 3 to 5 clients. So I can 100% tell you it definitely works. All they do is they go file, save as PDF, and they get send it out. One of the best client feedback I got out of this one was this used to take me 10 days to do. Now this happens in a matter of seconds because Power BI updates on its own because of auto refresh. This in Excel, as soon as I change the month, all the numbers update on its own. All the client then has to do is 2 weeks of writing commentary. Obviously, the quality of commentary quite dramatically changed. The quality of insights and the quality of output that they were producing was quite different. And that was then complemented by the fact that we produce Power BI dashboards for each management group. So when she was going to the management groups to discuss the performance, they got instant answers, which means all the instant commentary became even more engaging. Does it kind of make sense? Did people know about Q formulae and things like that already? Anything? I'm getting a few thumbs up, so I'm guessing you guys get where this is going, right? Because this, if I just show you the structure, right? We've set up the whole thing MTD. I could make this into a YTD, for example. That's my YTD numbers, right? I mean, so it just you can do a lot of stuff with this if you really think it through. So that it depends on how you set up your data structure. That's what I'd say. A lot of time goes in planning before we deploy this kind of a solution for a client. So this is option 2. Okay. Option 3. Is it here? Yes, it is here. Okay. Not this one. Where is it going? Where is my there. Option 3. So we recently announced our partnership with AimPlan. So we work with AimPlan now. So AimPlan is an add-in within basically Power BI. It helps you overcome the limitations of Power BI. Okay. So this is how a typical Power BI matrix table would look like, where you've got your GL accounts. Again, I could sum this up, collapse the entire level. So this is what a typical Power BI matrix table would look like, where you have a total at the bottom on the right hand side, and you have a hierarchy on the left, and then you have your EBITDA or whatever at the bottom. Okay. What AimPlan helps you do is you can have that still and still basically be able to summarize export collapse entire field. Yep. So you can summarize at basically divisional level, for example. Okay. So here, if I go on the right, instead of grand total, I don't know if you can see, I can zoom in a little bit. You see, there's not just a total. I've got total by Stockholm stores, total by places, which means this becomes a lot more user friendly. Like, can I, let me see if I can make this full screen. 80%, 110%. Can you read the titles now? So this actually now starts giving me total for the business by division. I can break it up, for example. So it helps you overcome that one limitation of a matrix table. The other thing is you can then start putting commentary on the right hand side. So I could start writing comments in Power BI. Okay. I can write over here X, Y, Z. And this will get saved. If I save this, it gets saved for 2024 for this company, for the selected cost centers, for this entire selection. So every time I go back to that selection, these comments coming. And every time I change the selection, the commentary will change. That's the beauty of basically Implant. So it gives you the advantages of Power BI, but then also gives you the ability to write commentary, make vertical basically reporting for the divisions or for hierarchies that you would like. You can also create, obviously, like just a typical dashboard in Power BI, you can make KPIs in it, which help you, go forward. While we are here, I'm just going to quickly just show you. You can also do a forecast with this one. So for smaller and simpler businesses, which are not like far too many legal entities and things like that, you can start doing a forecast over here. So I could go here and start doing a forecast, and I can save it back to the system, and therefore my basically Q1 forecast scenario will get saved in Power BI and things like that. So these are all advantages you get for with a solution like Implan, where you can make again your Power BI within Power BI you can make your entire board dashboard including commentary and KPIs and stuff like that. Okay, while doing basic level forecasting if you choose to do so. That's your third option. The fourth option is we are also Vena partners. So we talk about Vena also, because Vena, the advantage you get is you do your forecasting in Excel and you can then do your reporting, for example, within Vena in Power BI. So again, this is kind of your Power BI, but your data set sits within a Vena environment. If you don't have your own data lake and things like that, a CPM solution can help. Yeah, this is broken. Let me try another something which is not this one. Let me see if any of this is going to work, because I've had issues with my Vena this time. The Excel piece works. This one has, because I tried to refresh, which was my mistake. I shouldn't have tried to refresh this. This is not going to work. Anyway, it works at least on this one. So, or you can have an executive dashboard which looks like this, which again can go out to your board and people. So if you see, you've got again financial health, you get gross margin, income, assets, liabilities, operational. So it combines your financial data, your operational data, as well as your HR data, your customer satisfaction, for example, what's your pipeline looking like. This is a summary page, okay, cost of acquisition, everything else. And then there are pages which you can break it down. So again, this is a sample which shows you that you can actually have a board pack or an executive pack without having a vertical P&L if you really chose to, right? And all your physical numbers are there in the bottom if you need it, but the graphs tell a better story, so to speak. Okay, and the way this works is basically let's hope this works. My weather connection was a bit hesitant yesterday. Come on. Yes. So again, in this one, then if you have got multiple legal entities, for example, or multiple departments, you could create a pack and then choose sales, for example. I've chosen all the department, but you could just choose sales, save as PDF and send it across. That's it. They are done, or they can do it by themselves if you have given them security around it. If we have built that correctly, then they can log in and get their own reports. So that means again, your entire board report or your management packs can be completely end-to-end automated, because people can just self-serve themselves whenever they are ready to do so. And it can come out in Excel. And sorry, but my Power BI was not working today, but it can work in Power BI as well. Operational, again, this is some operational charts. This is just for example. Obviously, these can be all customized to specifically to each customer and client. Another thing I like about this one is the fact that, okay, so for example, I'm comparing my actuals to my budget. I want to change it. I don't want to compare to budget. I want to change it, compare to forecast. I change it to forecast. I refresh data. Just bear the number, right? 192, for example. It's updating. Come on, little man. You can do this. There you go. So it is a lot more dynamic and there is no data tab. These files are not heavy. This is basically checked out from the dashboard on here. So if I go here into contributor tab, and if I go into financial reporting, this is the executive which I just downloaded it from here. So it's not even like, oh, I need to save a copy of this. I need to do anything with this. If I lose this Excel, I'm going to, my life is going to be ruined. No, it's not going to be ruined. If you do this, you send it out, you delete the Excel book if you like, pick a fresh one from online when you are ready to pick a next one. Right? Therefore, life is completely digitalized. It's not a network of 500 Excel books. Again, Dixon Carphone, which was one of the clients we have worked with, when we worked with them in supply chain, they had 500 Excel books flying around. Okay, 500 interconnected Excel books flying around is a nightmare. Whereas something like this, though, is still in Excel. So, but for all look and feel purposes, but reality from a functionality perspective, you are in a much more secure and safe environment because you are not worried about security. You're not worried about is my numbers correct, are they updated or anything else. If I want to again all the options, right? If you want to compare to prior month or whatever, right? But why would I do that? I wouldn't do that. I would do actuals actually. Finish refreshing. Yeah, but so if I want to compare even actuals to actuals, current month to prior month, I can do that in a matter of seconds. Come on. Yeah, refresh it again. There you go. So again, every time your boss or somebody comes to you and asks you a question of, okay, yes, I want to compare my current month numbers to last month or to prior year or to prior quarter or 101 scenarios you can ask in a matter of seconds. You can start looking at trend lines. You can start putting commentary. You can do a whole lot of stuff. And even these comments get stored back into Vena with these dimensions with it so that they can come back, because that is the other thing which at least I find very, very frustrating, because your comments get lost. Every time I want to look at what is the story this sold me last time or what is the story that told me last time, I have to go back and open the PowerPoint from last time to look at what the commentary was. Whereas this, I don't have to do any of that. It's just there. It's simple as. Does this kind of make sense to people? Yes, no. So 4 different tools we have spoken about. You can have a simple Power BI. You can have a Power BI with AIM plan. You can bring Power BI into Excel to create a board pack which is end to end. And obviously there's a Vena kind of a solution which Vena and AIM plan both can help you with budgeting, forecasting, as well as board reporting and stuff like that. So that's the way to think about it. Again, depending on the size of the company and the complexity of the business, you can have different solutions around it. I mean, I had only four solutions to talk about today. So I would give it back to you guys now, because I am definitely going to stop talking. I've been talking for 40 minutes. So, anybody has any question? Anything you think? Say that we have a particular challenge. How do you go around with this one? No? Yes. Guys, you can unmute yourself. Nadia, Katie, Claire, come on, somebody ask me a question. No? Well, obviously this is a free webinar, but some recommendations we've had in the past where we've implemented, Power BI for them, and then exactly what I was talking to you about, the Excel connected to Power BI. This is what we did for Paul Rochester, and they loved it. He's the FP&A head of FP&A there. His boss basically bluntly told me, Tejas, from 10 days, you have made my job into 10 minutes. Now I have got 10 days of time to write insightful commentary and bring insight to the board. This is really, really helpful. I thought that was one of the best compliments one could ask for, right? This kind of stuff also helps you with your month-end cycle because it helps you see the big picture in very quickly. Therefore, reviewing financial performance becomes like a dream, right? Even at Unilever, when we did stuff like this, right, helps people gain confidence in the tools and processes that they're running, which is, I think, very critical. Otherwise, they don't know what tools and processes that they're running, and they're just running from one Excel book to another, which is not exactly ideal either. Uh, so that's we've done that. I mean, again, there are a lot more recommendations. You can go to my LinkedIn and have a look. Uh, most welcome, Katie. Most welcome. I'm glad you find it useful. This Most people here have come from LinkedIn, so you have my LinkedIn for sure. Otherwise, that's my LinkedIn, my Calendly, and our website. Please do get in touch if you have any questions. If you're shy here and you want to ask me in a one-to-one, I'm always open to a conversation and a discussion around this. So please do reach out. I would love to hear from you guys.